Hi and welcome to the beautiful tobacco growing fields of Vinales Valley on the west side of Cuba, where some of the most premium tobaccos are cultivated for Cuban cigars. So it's no wonder that this is the second most popular tourist destination after Havana in Cuba. So how do you like the new background? Nice, eh? There's no glare as well, or less glare than before, I hope. Also using Adobe Premiere Pro now. Hopefully it works, and then I'll get some effects going later, hopefully. So today I'm feeling fruity. Gonna try two fruity snuses, both made by GN Tobacco. And I think this will be really interesting because we're looking at the brand new Änglaholm with a nice new reflective can there. It says Änglaholm on the side. And we are looking at Oden's portion 29. So the Odens, they're making loads of Odens, as you might know. I think it's more than 40, and some of them have numbers at the end of them. So this one is 29, which is an apple snus. There's also an extreme strength version of this, but this is the original strength. There's one snus called 59, which is like a cinnamon snus. 69, I think, is classic tobacco taste. 79, lime and ginger, I believe. That's available in an extreme version. And then there's 99, which is a coffee flavor. So this one is apple flavored, original strength. You get 20 portions in it. 0.9 gram portions. The strength should be 8.1. The strength should be 8.19 milligrams per portion. Pretty standard there. Now the brand new Änglaholm is also 20 portions in there, 0.9 gram portions. It's a little bit stronger. It's got 10.8 milligrams per portion or 12 milligrams per gram. The Oden's is a low price snus. It's not the very cheapest, but it's definitely in the lower price range. While interestingly enough, this brand new, and it's the only Änglaholm, there's no other Änglaholm in the series yet, at least. It comes in at sort of like actually a higher mid price or lower full price. So it's definitely more expensive than the Oden's. It's more comparable to something like the X range or maybe Lundgren's, the Skånevit, for instance. This one should have cornelian cherry taste, like a sour cherry that's I think is a plant that's sort of native to Central or Southeastern Europe and going into Asia a little bit. You can't actually find that cherry in Sweden, so this is quite interesting. So you got like a sour cherry here and apple taste here. So let's get into them. We got on the Oden's 29, we got this sort of catch lid that you won't lose, but it's a relatively small catch lid in there. For the newer Änglaholm, it's a larger catch lid, not going out all the way, but still pretty large. This will be really interesting to try the new products from GN Tobacco and the sort of classic Oden's range they do. And the 29, it's got original portions in there. Let's smell it. Okay. The interesting, it's quite, haven't smelled many snoozes smell like it. You got like it's a pretty natural apple smell. It's not too sweet in the smell, so it could be potentially a bit tart. You get a bit of tobacco coming through. You know, I'm a bit apprehensive with the Oden's that are not mint, because I get some tobacco through there that I'm not that keen on normally. I don't get that specific one that I'm sort of getting in some others, so we'll see how it is. I'll pop one in, why not? It's quite well filled portions here. Feels like a quite big portion actually, and it's not unpleasant. It's yeah, it's okay. Quite light, quite mild on the apple, I would say. And now sour cherry Änglaholm. Okay, so these are wide portions with some tobacco coming through in there. The portions are looking a bit different. Feel a little bit harder in there, the tobacco, but well filled. Quite sort of interesting looking, quite sort of furry, slightly furry portions here. Pop one in as well. Okay, smell on this one. Now that's interesting. Obviously a different smell to these, but I'm going to try to... Oh yeah, this smells much better. That's a much rounder, sort of interesting smell. Definitely has a lot of cherries. It's not tobacco centric, this one. A lot of cherry, but natural. This one smells really good, and I'll be very interested in going through both of these, and as usual I'll get back to you and give you my verdict on Änglaholm and Oden's portion 29. Alright, you saw me messing up the amount of portions in Oden's portion 29. There might be inconsistencies there. I just watched a review of Änglaholm by In a Pinch. He's got a YouTube channel called In a Pinch. Please check him out because he makes really good reviews of snus. He's clearly interested in the products. They're very in-depth. He weighed them up, the Änglaholm, and found out that there are inconsistencies in the weight there, and possibly in the amount of portions as well. So I found that interesting. So when I, right at the end here, I've got to go approximate values on these. Really, not that easy to work out because there might be inconsistencies between cans, which I find interesting. Nevertheless, let's look at them. The Odens. It would actually make perfect sense that fewer portions in there because they are really big. The portions kind of reminds me a little bit of Jakobsson's portions. They're also not extremely moist, so yeah, a little bit like the Jakobsson's. Unlike the Jakobsson's though, when it comes to the melon for instance, that's full-on flavor with the extract, quite candy-like. The good thing about this one is I find it's quite natural. It's not really candy-like. You get like a greenish apple in there, which initially is quite fresh and nice, but it's very mild. Has a little bit of saltiness maybe there, but my main criticism here is not about bad tobacco or anything. It's just that sort of hollowness in the middle. It doesn't happen for me much, so it's a little bit dull. Not unpleasant though. First I wasn't impressed. After a while, it's fine to use, but it's probably not something I would go back to personally. But I think it's okay. So it's got a sort of decent green apple, slightly tart taste to it, but not an awful lot of, going on in there. And I find this interesting because this is a decent snus. It's fine, but this to me is much better. So I've got a theory now that if you looked at V2 Tobacco's Thunder 10-year anniversary, I'm not too keen on the normal Thunders that I've tried, but that one was much better. So you get like a new generation, although that was maybe a one-off, but they can clearly make a really great snus. Same with GN Tobacco now. We're seeing a new generation of course a little bit more expensive, they probably have to be, but you got the Isla whiskey, which is a superb snus. Also the newly acquired SPT, Scandinavian Premium, SPT, that GN Tobacco has acquired. They're making Byron Anis, which I really like. So now you got Isla whiskey, Byron Anis, and Änglaholm. I would put up there as top 3 from what I've tried from GN Tobacco. It's really interesting. The portions are a little bit smaller than the Odens, and as I said before, they're kind of furry. I actually really like the portions. They kind of feel handmade, although they're a little bit tougher in there, so might not be the most comfortable portion. The taste doesn't release for quite a while. It's a relatively dry portion. I really think it looks cool though. I don't know if you can see any of that. So it releases quite slowly, but then, and initially you can tell in the smell already, it's a much more satisfying taste as well as smell compared to Oden's to me. You get that sour cherry. So if we look at cherry snuses, I mean, you know, I like Americana, which is a cherry snus, but that tastes like a party going on. This is more elegant, a bit classier. It's a quite serious snus, although it is a fruit snus. So for me, it enters that very rare category of fruit snuses where you find rapé, where there's more to them. It's a nicer, to me, more elegant taste, but still with a good solid background going on. So you don't necessarily get a lot of tobacco taste, but there is a solid, so you get saltiness, and there's a slight sweetness that kind of builds it up a little bit. It's still relatively mild, but that sour cherry, it really kind of shines through. It's quite prominent in it, but not too full on. So it's I think it's a really nice snus actually, yeah, I think it's sort of one of the better fruit snuses on the market really. So if you compare it to something like rapé, is it as good? It's different, but it's a classy, nice cherry taste to it. I think that taste doesn't last maybe quite as long, but it lasts longer than the Oden's Portion 29. So you still get a decent flavor release once it gets going there. And it's one that I really want to get back to. So while I wouldn't personally buy the Oden's Portion 29 again, although it is cheaper, because I don't find it that interesting, but it's okay, I would definitely buy Änglaholm. It also feels quite unique, and you know, it has a purpose to it. So they really thought it through, nice can design and everything. It's a good snus for sure. Less candy-like than Americana as well, so if you want to go for the cherry. It's not Dr. Pepper, this one. It's a little bit more natural, and I think it's good they went with a sour one. So a good solid background, a little bit of sweetness, bit of saltiness, still a little bit robust, but it's elegant and not too heavy, but it's a very good fruit snus. So I will give Oden's Portion 29 an okay 4 out of 10, but not blown away. It's okay. The Änglaholm I will give a 7.5 out of 10. Was even thinking about an 8, but maybe the taste dies a little bit too quick for that. But yeah, very good snus. Although it is more expensive, get it. It's one to look out for. It will be really interesting to see if GN makes more in this series, and I like that they created a new series away from Oden's. This is one of the better ones from them in my view, better than any mint snus I've had actually by any manufacturer. It's a really good snus. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and sorry about this video didn't come out quite on time, just getting used to the new editing program, and I'm sorry I'm playing around a lot in this video. Might not be like that in every video. And thank you to snus24.com as usual. See you in the next one guys. Bye.